The first thing I would mention is um, we are in the technology age. It is not. It's a common knowledge to us, and one of the things that would make anyone stand out in this age is how they can build value and bring technology into the value they are building. I would start off by saying, we know what is technology changing about the way we work, and the truth is that AI is changing tasks. It is not necessarily eliminating every career. It is becoming very essential across every industry, the hospitality, the tourism, the travel, the edutech, and several other industries like that. And the future we are building now actually belongs to people who can work with technology, not compete blindly against it. I remember at a particular time I was having a conversation with someone that is building a product in the travel tech space, and the person mentioning to me back then how that was like, Marvelous, do you know the amount of money that have been pumped into the AI ecosystem this year? It is almost impossible for it to fail. So this was not even at the time when we are having innovations come to our faces day in, day out. But I'm just trying to say, if we do not embrace technology in what we do, we will not be able to compete in this age. I tell people artificial intelligence is a superior level of intelligence. And one of those that would thrive in our present world are those that have been able to see how they can build, they can, should I say, sync what they are doing and tap into the intelligence that this age is bringing. So you are not just full of so much effort. You're not just full of so much effort and without corresponding yield. But moving quickly, you need to learn how to use AI, like I mentioned, how to use data. Data is money. Yes. Some team reached out to me 3 days ago. They are working on um, trying to study the patterns on how the Lagos residents go about when they travel, trying to study, build responses around their engagement. So, and they were like, oh, what's our budget and all? They're trying to work around our community in Lagos. But my emphasis is that data is money. Investment follows the channel where data is actually simplified. What I mean is that people can only invest in what they can track. And the presence of data makes it easy for your growth rate to be tracked. The presence of data makes it easy for your movements to be tracked. The presence of data makes it easy for people to support you, which is why when you even make documentation of what you are building and the processes around what you are building, it is equally data. For instance, we have a yearly event we do, and our most recent event, we had over 3,000 youth in attendance. But it didn't start that way. We have data of when we started the first edition when only 300 person attended. We had data of the second edition where we had 1,000 person. We had data of last year's edition where we had 2,000 person. We had data of when we had 3,000 person. And these are the things we can put together to actually make a demand. So I tell people many times that track record, what you have done, has the ability to open more opportunities for you than what you are capable of doing. In simpler word, I would say track record is much more bigger than potential. Potential is what you are capable of doing. Some persons they do not know to what extent you are capable of doing something, but based on the work you have done so far, I mean, in previous times, you can be able to, one can be able to picture what you are capable of doing. Data is very important. Data, using AI, using data, using digital platform. That's another beautiful means, beautiful platform that technology is giving us. If I write a post on LinkedIn, for instance, maybe I'm having 1,000 impression. It's more or less me sitting before over 500 person to hear my view. I may not be able to meet this 500 person physically. It is so the digital platform has made it easy. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you, sir, clearly.
Okay, and digital platform has made it very easy for documentation to be done. Anything you don't document, you cannot sustain. Yes, I will say that again. Anything you don't document, you cannot sustain. I was having a conversation with a very amazing lady who is trying to build something in the food ecosystem, trying to document our local resource. I mean, some of the local products we use in making food. And because she feels that if when you talk about globalization, globalization is only amplified documentation. And what I mean is this: if I document well, when a platform comes that gives my documentation visibility, then it can be globalized. So Afrobeat that we have today, the reason why the world now we are seeing light into Afrobeat is because firstly we have documentation through consistency. Certain persons are singing in a certain way over time to the point that the global space begin to now buy into it. When they begin to honor it, we ourselves we now begin to honor what we are doing. So I'm coming. Okay, so I'm having a call coming, so I had to put my phone on DND. Apologies for that. So, like I said, AI, data, digital platforms, automation. Speed is a currency in this age. I was telling myself yesterday how that anything you can do to make people to save people time, you have an edge. Anything you can do to save people time, you have an edge. You have a big edge. So speed, and one thing automation does is that automation equally gives room to efficiency and speed. So you need to begin to look into automation. Remember so well that we are talking about how technology, leadership, and hospitality are shaping the next generation. But I'm intentionally starting off with technology because this is the core of this age. It is a platform that can give visibility to your value. I wrote a post on LinkedIn recently about how that it is not enough to be valuable. You equally have to be visible. So technology is a platform that gives us the edge. For instance, me and Mr. Damilola, we met when I was invited to Channels TV to speak. So, and what gave me that platform is visibility. So, and visibility, not just visibility that is baseless, visibility that is built on value. Technology will not replace everyone, but people who know how to use technology will actually increasingly replace those who refuse to use them. If you don't know how to use technology, you will be replaced by those that can use them. So I need to move a little into leadership, and I'm not going to talk about leadership from the place of leading people. I'll talk about leadership from the place of ownership of core skills, skills I think you need to embrace in this age for you to be very relevant. One of which is communication. You need to learn how to speak well. You need to learn how to expressly communicate your thoughts. You need to learn how to converse. Many of you, many of the youth of nowadays, let me put it that way, may not be able, like they are not able to communicate. And I tell people a lot, if you don't communicate, people cannot make a demand on what you do. So communicate so well. Another is critical thinking, ability to think without the sentiment of religion, without the sentiment of your belief. If you are embrace the soft skill of critical thinking, you can hold a different bias. You can embrace a different bias outside what you've learned all throughout your life. So, for instance, if I believe that it is good to eat breakfast, and somebody is coming with a different line of view to say no, it is not good to eat breakfast, and critical thinking, person is coming with proofs and all, for me to think through from another person's point of view, it takes critical thinking, and away from that critical thinking is you equally putting pressure on dreams to become products, dreams to become services. Critical thinking is how you can take what you do from level A to level C, what you do from level A to level Z is very important. So another thing I'll talk about is creativity. Let me just run through emotional intelligence, treating humans as humans, being intelligence in how we convey our emotions. We equally need the problem solving skill. Yes. If you want to be rich, you have to solve a problem. If you want to be relevant, you have to solve a problem. Another thing I'll mention is adaptability, which I believe it's a core thing for Nigerians. Nigerians don't know that as an average Nigerian, we learn how to adjust to situations. It's a beautiful thing, and I will equally uh, add collaboration to it, doing things with others, to to increase the value of what you do. In this age you need to be valuable. If AI can give you an answer in 10 seconds, like what value do you do you bring that will make people still want to work with you? So a notable founder mentioned recently that the future is people plus AI, not just generative AI like we have with the chat GPT and all, uh, but the sync between how the collaboration between people and AI. Um, Please, can you confirm for me if you can still hear me very well?
Definitely, sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I am very big on relevance, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the world is changing rapidly. I tell people, let me start off by saying this. I am somebody that I talk about what I do every day on my WhatsApp status. I believe no matter how maybe the most influential man in this world, maybe Donald Trump, there are still millions of people that don't know Donald Trump. So you just have to consistently be relevant. So the world is changing rapidly. Your skills must remain relevant. Yes, like you need to ask yourself, what problem can you solve? Who needs your solution? You need to know your audience. You can't be. I was telling somebody 2 days ago that you cannot build a product that the solution is generic. It means that you will not be valuable. It's something called brand positioning. And so you have to know who needs your solution. You can't build for everyone. You have to know why you should be choosing. The truth is that education is important, skill is important. You need to build experience, you need to build evidence, and that way every opportunity becomes an opportunity indeed. Take out your time to don't just say I am skilled. You have to show what you have done, you have to show what you have built, you have to show what problem you solve, you have to show what impact you have created. I tell you, so one of the beauty of our digital platform is it gives us the ability to build social CV. I mean to build track record. I post every now and then on LinkedIn. Like it just gives you that ability. I don't post for like, I just post because somebody is saying it, and that person may not like my post, may not comment on my post, but he's seeing what I'm doing. I was at an event last year, and while I approached one very big name in the hospitality industry, trying to introduce myself as this young man growing in the industry, and I was like, "Oh, good afternoon, sir. My name is Marvellous Dada." And the first thing he said is that I know you. This man has never reacted on my post. He has never commented on my post. He just said, I know you. Is this not the guy that is doing XYZ? But my point is that if I'm just waiting for the people that I react to as my primary audience, it means I don't understand how the social media space work. Build real value, but put it out there. Second thing I talk about initially was brand positioning. You need to increase the perception of your brand. I tell people when I teach over time that you have to control how people perceive you. You cannot throw yourself open to be perceived anyhow. It will affect the value they place on you and your brand. You really have to control how people perceive. I build a brand that at the moment we are Nigerian largest hospitality and travel youth network. But for the leaders of the brand, For every time we want to have physical leaders meeting, we meet in places that remind them that the brand is a global vision. So it just help to condition their mind, because you cannot build you cannot build global products on a local mindset. Yes. So, but moving quickly from that, many persons they would say, "Oh, in my CV, I have this, I have that." Your CV tell people what you claim, but your portfolio, your social portfolio, social track record, show people what you can do. Yes, somebody was telling me yesterday. Person was saying many a times the people that occupy very core seat are those that have half the competence of many persons that are hidden. So sometimes it's not a thing of competence. Competence is good, content is amazing, but visibility is equally important. So I'm saying be valuable but be viral. So influence and leadership. Now let's go into leadership. I have talked very well about technology. Let's go into leadership. So leadership is definitely not a title. I lead a team of 90 persons, and I can tell you leadership is not title. One of the motto, one of the is it cliche? What I think they call it cliche in the TMD brand is, we say the absence of a leader should not be the stoppage of the vision, which means that as a leader you must be a visioneer, not a pioneer, but a visioneer. You may be serving in another person's vision, and you are too valuable. My own mentor in the industry, or should I say, one of my mentor in the industry, Dr. Yaduni Gbadebo, the director of Eco Hotel and Suites. She works in Eco Hotel as a director, but she's very valuable. Like, she's very, very valuable. Leadership is the ability to create direction. You can inspire people and you can produce results. If you can create direction, you can inspire people, you can produce results, you are a leader. So you need to learn firstly to lead yourself. I tell people too many times, if you don't honor yourself, nobody will honor you. If you are the person that like to be pitied, people will reduce you to pity. So as a leader, you must learn to lead yourself. You must learn to stay inspired. You must learn to lead yourself well. Another thing again is that you must learn to lead teams. You must learn to lead change. You must learn to take responsibility. Do you know that before now, a long time ago, um, serving under several other persons, of which I still serve under people, I used to think that, okay, you know what, let me do my work and let me just get paid and go. But my mentor, Dr. Yaduni, changed my perspective to work. How that work is an extension of life. And I'm going to break that a little deeper. She began to tell me how that, I'm very sorry, I'm having something hit me here. So she began to tell me how that I should begin to see work beyond salary. I should begin to see work beyond the perks, the gifts, the incentives that come with work. I should begin to see work as a platform of becoming. And from there, when I started off with my one of the companies I work for, and they started off with a certain amount for me as my salary. And by then, I am of the opinion that I can earn more than that, being honest. I believe I'm more valuable than what they are paying me. But I equally look at other aspects that is not finances, that is a form of payment. I mean, I put in the work. Maybe my closing time is for 6, I'm there till sometimes 8. I was working because I'm seeing it as a platform to become. I started off as in the role of an assistant, and I was trying to learn what that particular I was learning to learn the demand of the new role, just so that I can build that knowledge. So now, for to me, then it is not a thing of payment; it is becoming. I'm getting better. I am improving. A lot of things is happening to me at the same time. You know, so we see work, like I mentioned, as an extension of life. My mentor will oftentimes tell me, "Oh, tomorrow," if they say, "Oh, Marvellous, um, uh, we like Marvellous. we no longer need your service, of which they cannot say that, being honest, because I believe I am of great value to the organization. It's a matter, we no longer need your service. It will not be a thing of pain, because you have equally become in the process. How that the only thing you will gain from work should not be salary. That's my emphasis. The only thing you will gain from work should not be salary. If there's nothing that is really adding to you when it comes to career growth. And when I mean career growth, I'm not talking about even certifications. I'm talking about the becoming, the experience, the exposure. I wrote something on LinkedIn recently how that expertise is bigger than experience. But I wouldn't digress. Expertise means you know a niche too well. Experience means that you are exposed to a body of knowledge, of which it can be even the wrong one. But let's not even digress into that. So you need to learn to lead yourself, like I had mentioned. You need to learn to lead teams. You need to learn to lead change. You join a system, they can see the change instantly. You need to take responsibility, make decision. You need to learn how to communicate your vision. Moving quickly from that, if you are given 10 persons today, let me even ask, could you organize them to achieve something meaningful? These are things you need to start working on. If your answer is no, leadership development should start now. Yes, yes, leadership development should start now. Career success is ultimately about the value you create. And that is how you connect technology with leadership. I'm telling you, the career success is ultimately about the value you create. Like I mentioned, you have to solve a problem, you have to save time, you have to improve an experience, you have to make money, you have to reduce costs for people, you have to create opportunity, you have to make people seen and valued. So you have to ask yourself, what value can I create that the world is willing to reward? I'm in the hospitality and the tourism space. I work with one of, in fact, the most luxurious hotel brand in Nigeria. And I tell you, I know how big experience is. I know how people can pay $350 per night just for one night because of power of experience. But that is not the topic for today. Let me move away from that. So, coming into the title, no, let me even touch on experience, because you for those of you that is interested in the hospitality and tourism space and those building in other sector, experience is your strongest framework. Um, you have to experience happen in literally all industry. Is it hotel? Is it airline? Is it event? How you make people feel? Is it tourism? Is it restaurants? Every business is in the business of experience. People may forget what you sold to them, but they will remember how you make them feel. So, and if we are to connect it to technology, I would say technology creates efficiency. Leadership creates direction. Hospitality creates the connection. And the future belongs to people that can combine these three things: efficiency, direction, and the connection, the feel. We are having a retreat in the coming week. I mean, the leaders of the TMD at IITA for 3 days. And just people coming around together, the connection keeps the fire burning for the brand. So, and moving quickly from that, I tell you, if let me ask, I will ask a few questions here and there. If technology, because I know maybe I have more persons in the technology space here. If technology continues to become smarter, faster, and more powerful, of which it will be, what makes you valuable in the future? These are the things you start answering yourself. So the answer, and let me tell you the honest fact. I equally work in the HR department, so I know that. See, the answer is not simply having a degree. The future will belong to people that can that will combine technology with human skill, technology with leadership, technology with the ability to create meaningful experience. That's what will make you valuable in the future. You need to be able to combine technology with human skills, technology with leadership. Technology with the ability to create meaningful experience. If I ask you, I say, oh, how many of us have used AI this week? You say, okay, definitely. And maybe most of us, maybe ChatGPT, maybe Cloud, maybe Grok, maybe Gemini, maybe a whole lot, maybe DeepSeek. So, but I need to ask you that: are you using technology to make yourself better, or you are waiting for technology to make you irrelevant? Please think about it. So, the future-ready professional, you must be able to thrive. And thrive, I'm talking about you must be able to use technology. You must be able to sharpen your human skills. You must be able to be relevant. You must be able to influence. You must be able to provide real value. You must be able to build experience, quality experience. I had mentioned before now on leadership. I'm big on leadership. I'm a leader myself. I'm a leader in my professional career. I'm a leader in my brand. And when I talk about leader here, I'm not talking about when somebody gives you a position. I'm talking about you are a leader when people can trust you with responsibility. Anytime people can trust you with responsibility, you are a leader. If you are with me, can I see emojis? I just want to know if you are following. Can I just hear from you? If you can hear me, hello.
Yeah,
We can hear
we
you. We
can
are
like
following you perfectly, sir. Right on.
follow.
Okay. All right. So, um, I need to begin to conclude my point. The future is not waiting for us. It's actually being built right now. There's a friend of mine I have that I do share things with. Anytime I see something that blows my mind, I share it with him. Anytime I see something that blows his mind, he shares with me. And we now jump into critical thinking, start talking about, and like I said, though you don't have to embrace the excuse of the nation. Oh, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. Are you saying the truth? Yes. But are people still thriving? Yes. How are they thriving? So, but my point is that people are really building now. So the question is not whether technology will change your career or not. It will definitely change it. The question is if you will be changing with it. Technology will change your career, but are you changing with it? Build your skill, build your character, build your network. That's a topic for another day. If I talk about network, we'll not leave here in 1 hour. Build your experience, and most importantly, build something that create value for other people. See, the future ready career is not about getting a job, sir. Ma. It is about becoming the kind of person the future need. I will conclude with just one statement so I can take maybe one or two questions. Don't prepare only to find a job in the future. Prepare to become valuable in the future. Thank you um for having me. And that is my time. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Damilola.
Wow, wow, wow. That was so profound. That was very, very insightful and very, very profound. I've been able to, unpack a whole lot of, a whole lot of things from what he has shared with us today. And I'm sure every one of us have already also gained value. We've gained, value from this session. So many things he said that stood out with me. So thank you, Mr. Marvelous. I must say a big thank you to you. And so among every other thing he mentioned, one of the things that stood out from what you mentioned to me is anything you don't document, you cannot sustain. I that came to me so strong, so strong. You need to document your progress. You need to have a track record. Document, use data, capture every of your progress, put them into proper context so that people who would come into your space tomorrow, who you will be, people who you want to network with, people who you want, maybe it might be you want to request for funding, you want to request for support, for mentorship, they will need something to see. They will want to see a proven track record from you. Like they want to see results. They want to see at least a little result, something tangible, something you have done that they can hold on to and see that, oh, this person is actually serious with growth. So you need to document your track record. You need to use data to document whatever we are doing. That was so profound. And then you also spoke on leadership. I was going to ask a question on leadership actually, but I think you've been able to answer my question from all you said. I like the way you capture every angle. You capture every angle. So I wanted to ask that, leadership is far becoming very very important. Not just as a soft skill alone, is becoming very relevant and as important as technical skills. And then what are the skills that leaders are meant to possess? What are the skills that that will take them to the top? What are the skills that will make them relevant? And then you've been able to capture all of those in your discussion. So one of the things you mentioned is communication, ability to express your thoughts, ability to communicate your perspective clearly to people, and also critical thinking. You must embrace critical thinking that goes beyond sentiment, regardless of your culture, your background, your religion. All right, so that was so profound. Thank you so much, Mr. Marvelous. And uh, if you have any question, please drop it in the chat section. I just want us to pause a bit. I want this webinar to have two sessions to it. This will be the first time we're going to be having something like this. So the second part we're going to be moving on to is actually the conversation part. So I would like to ask few questions, just two or three questions from Mr. Marvelous. And I think I've watched him a few times. I've been following up on his posts recently, and I know he's very big on hospitality, tourism. That's where his own field is. That's where he has developed his expertise. So one of the questions I want to ask is that, Mr. Marvelous, you've worked closely with many young people in the hospitality industry, or peradventure any other industry. All right, and so one of the skills a leader must build is emotional intelligence, ability to lead people. You mentioned something when you were speaking. You must be able to lead yourself. You must be able to lead change. You must be able to take responsibility. So I want to ask her, what are the most common mistakes that you have seen in early career professionals or already thriving career professionals? What are the common mistakes you have seen, leaders or career professionals, job seekers? What are the mistakes you have seen them make over the years since you started, this youth development of the thing? So over to you, sir.
Okay, being very honest, the first on my list that is coming to my head right now is waiting for endorsement before they progress. So just want someone to tell them you are doing well. Every one of us, we are encouraged when we hear these things. But the truth is that nobody deny what works. So if you produce evidence, evidence is like sugar. It will bring people to actually eulogize. Let me give a good example. In the hospitality and tourism space where I primarily operate, when we started off, we didn't do the conventional way. So we have some associations in the hospitality and tourism space. We're building our thing, we're doing our thing without necessarily engaging these associations. We are so skilled that the association person starts saying, you are not inviting us, Marvelous. You are not wanting. In fact, they are not even coming for partnerships. Oh, okay, let's do this. We have the result and you cannot deny it. That's just the honest truth. We have the results, you cannot deny it. So if I was waiting to go through their path to gain their endorsement, maybe by today we'll not be where we are. So I'll just say sometimes they don't build, they just want to wait for some the credibility of another to continue building and just build. I think I see a question in the chat box talking about book to read. Um, I would say Servant Leadership by Miles Monroe. It's a very amazing one. Yes. There's a book Building the Brand by the woman House of Tara. 360 Degree Leader by Maxwell, and me, I am very big on podcasts though, and the way my brain works. My brain works in a marvelous way, I must confess to you. So, I listen to other person's thought process. I try to, I, I listen to, I listen to the secret in the secret. What I mean is that when we have a normal conversation, I listen to what is not normal about the normal conversation. So, critical thinking, just training your mind to think beyond, to think, oh, and that's it, demystifying things. It is.
Awesome, awesome. That was so insightful. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. So, for instance, now we have some people who truly they always wait for motivation to do something. They, not that they are really everything is really predicated on motivation, but they always want some people always want to be pushed, motivated before they can achieve their task. But as a leader, I think that's where we now begin to look for a way to manage those ones, those kind of people, because the truth is that we are going to be relating with different kinds of people. As a leader, you are going to come across different kinds of people who will who will give you different kind of character, people who are from different background. And so you, as a leader, you have that. You must be able to manage their emotions, manage people's emotions. And one of the skill you must have is that emotional intelligence. You must be able to manage people, lead change, and also take responsibility. But I also think that you can also as a leader, you're also a motivator. All right, as a leader, you're also a motivator. People, when they see results, when they see you generate results, they are able to follow. They are able to follow through. So thank you. That was very profound. That will take me to the next question I'm going to be asking you right now. So, from my own perspective now, I want to bring you back to technology. From my own perspective, AI and digital tools are rapidly changing how we work. All right, I work in the tech space. All right, and then I've seen the radical transformation in the tech space. I've seen what is possible. I've seen possibilities. I've seen achievement. I've seen what could be done if technology is behind the scene. Technology is like an accelerator. So, but they don't replace leadership. I like what you mentioned when you were speaking. You said a lot of people are using AI, but what are you using AI for? Are you using AI to improve yourself? Because the truth is, you have to use AI for something. Either you are using it to improve yourself or you are using it at your detriment. For instance, there are people who cannot speak without preparing slides. There are people who cannot speak at an event without, it's good to prepare slide, have your presentation, do your homework properly when coming up the stage. We are not encouraging lasciviousness or laziness, but your inability to speak, communicate your thoughts without using AI or without preparing something with AI is where I have a little issue. But then AI is an accelerator. We must be able to communicate our thoughts expressly, communicate our ideas in such a way that people can understand. and relate with what we are saying, and we can inspire others, right? So from my own perspective, as I'm talking with respect to, with technology now, so AI and digital tools are changing how we work, but they don't replace leadership. They can never replace leadership, communication, and clear creativity or problem solving. What is your own opinion? Would you agree that technology should be seen as an enabler rather than a replacement for human potential?
Yes, I think in my thought, I did mention that technology is here to stay. And when you work with technology, then you can be more efficient, you can be more effective. So whether I like it or not, technology would literally, for instance, coding. You cannot code more than you cannot code more than ChatGPT. You can't code more than cloud. So, but you need to understand the infrastructure so that you know how to apply this. Application is where what will separate the men from the boys. How to apply the intelligence of this age, which is AI infrastructure to whatsoever you are building. But you cannot. If I want to prepare something now, I can go to my girl. Oh, this is my point. This is my point. Amplify it for me. It brings me on other thought process, but it does not mean that I don't have an experience to relate to those things. So application is the edge now. How to apply. So AI will not erode people, but
At all.
those that cannot work with AI will actually be eroded off the equation.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love that. I love that. I think we share the same, we have the same thoughts on that particular subject. I also tell people that AI can not never take your or replace you, because people will be saying AI will replace your job, AI will do this, AI will do that. AI is an enabler, actually. It's an accelerator, helps you do your job better, faster. For instance, now the company I work for, we are building a web app, an ERP system, you know, that is customized, tailor made for the company. And I am the digital operations manager from sharing that for the company. And these are people who are from different countries working together, cross-functional team, and then speak on daily basis, push projects, do all of those things. So we actually leverage AI actually to make our work faster and very, very easy. So AI is actually an enabler. So another question I want to ask you, Mr. Marvelous, is what would you say is your biggest skill? Since I know you've mentioned some things that is, that's centered around this leadership of a thing. I see you as a youth advocate, all right? So what would you say is your biggest skill? What are you really, big on when it comes to, relating with people? How do what are the visible skill, or the top skill that a leader must possess among all of these skills that you have listed? Because the truth is, you come across a lot of people, and people will frustrate you or frustrate your efforts. What will you say you are really big on? How do you manage people? How do you relate with people? How are you able to bring together these people? You said the other time that you host a yearly event in hospitality and tourism. So what is your biggest area of strength, your skill, what you do to manage people? I hope you understand my question.
All right. So for me, I would say two things: communication and human relations. So communication, ability to communicate my what I see as a vision, to communicate where I'm going, the aspect of where I'm going that I understand, and the aspect of where I'm going that I do not understand. And second is human relations. So I see humans as opportunities, not me as an opportunist. What I'm talking about is I see humans beyond their current state. I see humans as just a body that is enveloped with so much. So I honor, I treat humans as humans. Being a Christian, my Bible says, "Do unto others what you would want them to do to you." So it's a golden rule for me, and I think it has actually helped me in relating with people. So when you treat people well, it's an investment that may hit now or later on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for throwing more light. Thank you. Communication and human relations. Very important. Very important. I don't know if anybody has any other question at this point. I don't know if you have any question. Mr. Tolu, sorry, I don't know if you have any question. Mr. Tolu is on this call. Mr. Tolu is the founder of diversity.com, and then we've been together. We were together at GEF Ghana last year, 2025. So, Mr. Tolu, I don't know if you have anything to say or any, uh, if you have any, you know, any suggestion, whatever you want to add to what has already been said.
Nothing much. I just want to commend Marvelous. Um, Very great session. I enjoyed listening to you. And then I just checked up your profile as well. TMD is doing a whole lot, and I'm pretty impressed. I mean, I'll be looking forward to opportunities to collaborate and to partner. Yeah, and yeah, Damilola, you're doing a very great job as well. I think for me, consistency is one of the greatest assets of any visionary. Your ability to stay doing the right thing goes a long way to ensure that you actually thrive at what you do. So, Damilola, keep it going.
Thank you so
Captain
much.
Larry, I
Thank you
hail.
so much.
Um, Anifo Oshe, hi.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Hi.
Tolu. Thank you for that. For that, really appreciate it. So on this note, I think we are almost exhausting. We The meeting is about to end right now. So if there are no questions, I think this way we are going to draw the curtain and call it a day from here. So, Mr. Bro Wale, your question. Hey.